You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 227. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jeff Barnum, the Killjoy in 1962.
Oh, yes. This is a great line from one of the stories we'll talk about today.
The very first one.
Oh, good. Comic Reflections is brought to you by The Outhousers. You can find our show and other great content at theouthousers.com. And if you enjoy this program, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
Okay.
Yeah. So today, Jeff, we're going to talk about some more Silver Age Fantastic Four issues.
And they're fantastic.
Yes, these are really wonderful. I think now we're really starting to get into what the Fantastic Four is starting to really gel now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just upward through the remainder of the 60s. One thing I want to mention before we really dig into the stories today, this week, Joe Sinnott turned 84.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe, he didn't ink any of the stories that we're going to talk about today, but he inked a whole lot of Silver Age Marvel in general, and much of, if not most of, the Kirby run on Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
So
that's cool.
Happy birthday, Joe Sinnott.
Hey, we can sing this song now legally.
It's in the public domain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now it's going to be in every movie ever.
Right, which I don't mind. The other way was stupid. And
in every movie, you always see, like, happy birthday, and then you catch the scene of them blowing out the candles. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah, and the go into a restaurant, happy birthday, but something like that.
Gross.
Weird song. And,
yeah.
But I can't blame them.
Right. But they'll still do that at TGI Fridays.
Do they?
Yeah. That's kind of like where that kind of thing came from, those corny theme restaurants.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
All right.
Hey, let's talk about Fantastic Four number 8. Cover dated November of 1962. Cover art, penciled by Jack Kirby and inked by Dick Ayers. And we have a terrific image of the Puppet Master manipulating the Fantastic Four as marionettes.
Mm-hmm. Which he never does, literally, but this is a metaphorically thing.
Yeah, and it's a cool cover, and
although I don't like the looks of the Puppet Master. He's just ugly looking, and it's not cool.
He's very creepy.
Yeah.
In fact, he kind of looks like a puppet or a doll, a creepy doll.
Mm-hmm.
Which, maybe that's intentional, to be ironic.
But, I don't know. Do you ever see him again? I tried looking it up.
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
So, yeah. But let's talk about this story. It's called Prisoners of the Puppet Master, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Dick Ayers.
Okay. He began with another patented Fantastic Four argument. Thing tries to come in, and Reed is working on an experiment. The experiment, of course, is to cure the Thing. And
Reed doesn't want him to know what it is because he doesn't want to disappoint Ben in case it fails.
Right. But, if he comes in and looks at it, is he going to know? I mean, if I walked into the Manhattan Project, I wouldn't know what it was.
Right, that's a very good point. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, and of course Ben takes it the wrong way, thinks they're trying to keep secrets from him.
Yeah.
So he storms off angrily, and I love it, there's a line he says, like, oh, you call me Ben when you want something, and the rest of the time you treat me like Dracula's brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny and true. Yeah. The Thing is one of the greatest characters.
Oh, and they give him the best dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love I don't know, is it Brooklynese?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So they get in their fight, and the fight gets over. He leaves, and Sue follows him in Inviso mode. And the Thing is talking to her, and some local yokels see him talking to himself. So they make fun of him, and he ties one up in
a lamppost.
And Sue kicks one in the butt.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah, so, I guess I thought it was out of character, but maybe she just had enough. So.
Well, yeah, and her doing something like that kind of makes her more fun.
Yes, it does. Instead of the goody two shoes, which she usually is.
Yeah.
All right. They stop and they see. Oh, there's a guy who is climbing. Looks like the Brooklyn Bridge. He looks like he's about to fall off. So she shoots the flare. Don't they have a better communicating device than the flare?
You would think that they would have.
I mean, they had walkie-talkies at this time.
Well, yeah, or how about an intercom, like on their uniform and their belts? Why do they need a flare?
Yeah, or Dick Tracy had his radio/TV watch.
Yeah, the two-way wrist radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's odd that their leader is the world's greatest scientist, and he doesn't have a better way for them. We're using flare guns.
Although the flare does make a 4, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and a lot of the answer is because it looks cool in a comic, even though it's not the most logical answer.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of problems with this. I mean, if somebody goes to the bathroom or something, or is reading a book, are they going to notice a flare?
Right. Are you going to be constantly looking out the window to see a flare? How long does that flare show in the sky?
Yeah. Does it make a sound or blah, blah, blah? I don't know. Okay. So, Reed tries to reach him and he can't reach him. So
from the Baxter Building.
Yes. And it's a long way. It's kind of cool.
So he sends Johnny to go help him. But what I think is, like, how come Reed couldn't grab something closer and then, stretch to that and then stretch outward again to the guy?
Because the torch is cooler. I don't know.
Okay.
So the torch goes saves him, and he looks. The guy seems like he's out of it or something.
He's in a trance.
Yeah, and we see the reason why, and it's the bald-headed puppet master who's really ugly looking. So he is about to push him over.
Hang on. The puppet master has a model of the bridge with the guy on it, and he's about to push the guy off to make him jump.
Right. And Johnny Storm grabs the guy, which makes the puppet master has his finger burned because of that, which is weird that it goes both ways. It
is odd, especially because Johnny's not burning the guy. He flames off his hands and just carries him away from the bridge.
Yeah, and it's odd that this is okay. So.
But the puppet master has this weird radioactive voodoo clay that he makes his puppets from.
So he has to make a model of the bridge for someone to walk onto the bridge, and a model of the person to walk onto the bridge to fall off, just to see if he can do it. And killing yourself is very hard to do. I mean, it's everything in your instinctually tells you not to.
Right.
So this is a good test, but man, building a bridge and all that stuff, why can't you?
Like, that's a lot of hours put into, a test. I mean, geez, you could have made a model of a guy, had him go buy a sandwich. Something less conspicuous that's not going to draw attention to you.
Yeah. Or make, one of those new 1960s skyscrapers that is a rectangle, and just, you can make that in 5 minutes.
Sure.
And then, but he's evil, and evil people do stupid things. He's not an enjoyable villain. I mean, Doctor Doom is enjoyable.
Because his villainy is just delicious,
Yeah.
And the puppet master, he's just this little creep.
Yep.
And he wants power.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know why he wants power. We don't know anything about him other than he's a widower, has a stepdaughter, and he's a creepy little guy.
Yeah. And his stepdaughter is Alicia, who later on becomes the Thing's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she's his stepdaughter, so they don't have that messy thing of her being his progeny. That's what they're not related by blood. Okay, so he's mad about that. So I want to get even with the Fantastic Four. So he makes a Thing doll out of the radioactive clay.
Which, who knows where he got that from?
Right.
From the radioactive clay depot.
Yeah. So the Thing goes to his house, and Sue, invisible, follows.
Yeah.
Alicia is blind, and she senses Sue because she senses there's two different people in the room.
Right.
The blind do have better hearing, taste, and smell because you only have use of one sense
Right.
Yeah,
She's going to hear somebody else breathing, or their foot falls, in the room, that a person who's has full use of all their senses isn't going to notice.
I was thinking that was kind of incredible, but probably it's okay.
It's not so fantastical. It really isn't. It's like Daredevil does this kinds of stuff, but it's amplified, of course, because of the radioactive isotope. But this is not far-fetched at all, actually.
One thing, the stepdaughter, Alicia, calls Puppet Master father, and I'm not your father, I'm your stepfather. And speaking of the stepfather, my stepdaughter's never called me dad, and I'd be extremely impressed and happy if she did. I really don't understand.
Yeah, but
I understand why my daughter doesn't do it, but I don't know why he would mind.
Well, people are different all over.
Right.
And maybe, he married someone with a child, was kind of bitter about it, didn't want to be a stepdad. I mean, that's not a situation I want in my life. And then the wife dies, and he's stuck with the kid.
Maybe. Yeah. It's odd, though.
Yeah, but this guy's
it's odd anyway, yeah. Okay.
So people feel differently about all kinds of things. And so whatever.
Okay. So, all right. The thing is under his control. And then we get to another plot line. He makes a guy who works at the prison steal the keys to the prison so the prisoners can escape.
The Puppet Master does this?
Yes.
Okay.
And so he sends Thing and Sue. Oh, he disguises Alicia as Sue.
And sends her to the Baxter building.
Right.
Tells her it's a prank. This is so that in the meantime he can. It's a delaying tactic, so he can be using the Thing and the Invisible Girl to free these prisoners.
Yeah, and so hopefully the Thing will take care of the rest of the Fantastic Four. So there's a big fight, and here we go again. Temporarily comes Ben Grimm, and he loses the puppetry. I guess because the puppet no longer looks like him.
Right. Back up a little bit. He sends Ben back to destroy the Fantastic Four with Alicia in tow. And Ben messes up Reed's laboratory. He gets the chemicals from the experiment that Reed was working on to cure him.
Yes.
That's splash time. That's important. Because why did he just turn back?
Right. He turns back for all kinds of reasons. So I don't know. It's always sad though. I mean, it's really a cool thing about Fantastic Four is Ben Grimm's want to be human and occasionally becoming human and then being disappointed when he's not.
Yeah. But, decades later, it would be revealed in a retcon that Ben always had the ability to turn back and forth, but he was stuck as the Thing because of a mental block. There was no physical reason that kept him from changing back and forth, because everyone else can use their powers at will.
Yeah, that is odd. That is interesting.
Yeah. But that wasn't a Lee and Kirby idea at all.
All right.
So
I like the original idea better.
Well, and also it was what's really messed it up is, and they shouldn't have done this. I think this was during John Byrne's run. I could be mistaken, but Reed knew that and didn't tell Ben. What a jerk!
Yeah. No, I don't like that at all. No. Yeah. I don't think that doesn't sound right.
No. Reed can be aloof and things,
unthinking and thoughtless, but
inconsiderate. Yeah,
inconsiderate.
But that's not Reed Richards. John Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four is great, but I think that's an interesting idea. But the notion that Reed knew about it the whole time, that's really messed up.
Okay, so all right, the Thing turns back into Ben Grimm. Alicia notices this. And she liked the original Thing, and he thought she sensed that he was good at heart.
Yeah,
but she is, and she's feeling his face, and then he turns back into the Thing.
Yeah, and she feels like, oh, there he is, there you are, because she's touching his face.
Yeah, and Ben says, but the clunker is, she likes me better as the Thing.
Yeah.
So that's
I mean, what a dilemma to be in. He longs to be human,
Mm-hmm.
but see, this is the root of that whole plot line of like it being a mental block. Like, oh, but he stays the Thing because Alicia would like him better as the Thing in his mind.
Right.
I mean, but really, she'd love Ben no matter who he was.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, we go to the prison, and there's a breakout done by the puppet master and his puppet, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sue escapes, sends up a flare. They come and they fight. There's a really cool robot puppet, and good fight
With the
the Fantastic Four, and the puppet master has a puppet flying horse.
And he also says it's rocket powered. So, like, what are the limits of this? What things that he can do with the clay?
Yeah, I guess not. Why don't you make a battleship, or something? I don't know. That's what. And they looks like he's just getting the prisoners out for an experiment, see if he can do it. But then he can already control the Thing. What do you need with a bunch of convicts?
Yeah, I mean, is it to, like, cause chaos and then it'll cover his tracks while he commits other crimes?
Maybe.
And, like, everyone in prison got out, so
Yeah.
nobody's going to come after him while he's, robbing banks or something?
Yeah.
But, I mean, if he were smarter, he could use the puppets to, just have somebody else bring him a bunch of money.
Yeah.
On the sly, and then have them go back to whatever they were doing. If they're in a trance, they're not going to remember what they're doing, right?
Right. And if they get caught, well, that's their tough luck, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can't bring it back to the puppet master, because who's going to believe that in the court of law, even with the Fantastic Four around?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So there's a big prison break. The Fantastic Four come, and because the warden is hostage, and some really cool fight scenes. And I guess we can just say Fantastic Four win after some spectacular fighting.
Yay! Yeah.
Oh, there's a Kirby.
It's all Kirby.
It's all Kirby, but it's the Thing is throwing this convict, and you see the perspective from his soles of his shoes as he's sailing through the air. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, and that's something you'd see going back all the way to things like the Newsboy Legion and the Boy Commandos back in the Simon and Kirby days, the 40s.
Yeah.
But it's a great thing that Kirby does, and it's nice to see it here.
Right.
There's a scene where the prisoners open fire with a machine gun at Reed, and he absorbs the bullets and then bounces them back at him, like Plastic Man.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd established that he was bulletproof.
Yeah, I was surprised at that.
I mean,
myself.
like, how do you hurt him then?
I don't know. I guess we flamethrower maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Back to the puppet master's den. Alicia's back there, and here's another mystery. The puppet master made a puppet of himself as king of the world. Why does he need a puppet of himself?
Vanity. But that's awfully stupid of him to clearly use the same radioactive clay.
Yeah.
Because if anything happens to the puppet...
Right. I was amused that he destroyed the United Nations. Okay. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing I would do if I was king of the world. But,
oh, boy.
It's just a bunch of thieves there, and they don't ever do anything great. But, all right, so we have this scene of him being pulled by the Fantastic Four, and he's...
Oh, like as he's king. He's
king.
monologuing and, having his visions of grandeur.
Being fed by all these generals and leaders. Looks like Castro's there. All right, and so he's monologuing, and Alicia grabs for the king puppet, and he knocks her down. She's trying to grab it, where she thinks it landed. He comes after it and trips and goes out the window, and to his death.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Marvel death.
Yeah, I mean, he will come back.
Yeah.
I don't know how long we have to wait, but he does return.
Yeah, so someone said, all right, here's a question here, quote, what happened, Reed? What made the puppet master fall? Reed says, I wonder if we'll ever really know. Doesn't Alicia know? I mean, she's blind, but she can feel someone tripping over her.
Yeah, but do we know that he fell because he tripped, or for the voodoo of the radioactive clay in the doll?
Okay. I messed that totally.
See, this would be a perfect poetic kind of ending. It would have more impact if he never came back.
Yeah, it would.
But because Alicia remains a major supporting character for like ever, of course he comes back.
I love the Alicia thing. And that's about the one only... I'm trying to think of another romance I really like. Well, I like Spider-Man's romances.
Sure.
And most of the other ones I don't particularly like. I mean, they're okay, but I really do like Thing and Alicia.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Hey, we got a little feature.
Oh yeah, a pin-up of the Human Torch, and it's him explaining how he bursts into or how he flies because of his powers.
Yeah, and this is probably due to questions from readers.
Totally.
And one interesting thing, he every day he sprays with a special chemical vapor in his room. So I guess
stuff won't burst into flames.
Yeah, so I guess he might catch on flame and when he's sleeping, maybe.
Yeah, or forget to flame on, or be careless. But that's really weird. I mean, and they go with some goofy reason as to why he can fly. Well, duh, heat rises.
Yeah. I thought that was badly done. Okay.
On to the next issue.
Yep.
Which is Fantastic Four number 9. Cover dated December of 1962. Cover art penciled by Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers. And we have this great image on the cover of Fantastic Four getting thrown out of the Baxter Building, and Prince Namor in the foreground smirking at them. He's so smug.
Yeah, he's a great smirker.
Yeah.
Okay. So the end of the Fantastic Four. Well, I guess there's no more issues. So
yeah,
that's the end of the run.
Yes, the story in this issue is called "The End of the Fantastic Four," which was written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Dick Ayers. So the splash panel is great because Namor is watching television from his Atlantean home.
Okay, I got a question.
Okay.
I was reading in Wikia, Marvel Wikia, and it said this is the first time Stan and Jack are formally credited, and I thought they were credited all during this.
I mean, we've seen their names on everything, so I don't know what they mean specifically by that.
Okay. Oh well.
It's a throwaway bit of trivia. Like what? Huh?
Yeah, I was confused.
Like, what is it they're being credited on the credits page informally?
I don't know. Was it written in stone somewhere on this plaque? I don't know. All right. Namor is in his
throne room, I guess.
Or I don't know what it is, but he's got a picture of Sue, and he's got this crazy TV, which is great.
It looks like this, like the case that the old television set would be in, like those old TVs in the big wood frame or whatever.
Yeah.
It looks like the television set is in or surrounded by coral.
Yeah,
and it's great.
I would love that. At this time, and I lived through this, TVs were furniture.
Oh yeah, they were big.
Yeah, well, they were meant to be furniture. They're meant to look like furniture. You know, they're wood, and a lot of them are really nice looking. And
sure.
And now it's just an appliance, a really wonderful appliance with a much bigger screen and better resolution. But it is cool. But I would love to have that in my house. That'd be awesome.
So anyway, the news program that Namor is watching basically is saying the Fantastic Four have gone bankrupt, and he immediately starts hatching a plan.
Yeah, and what a plan it is. Okay, so man, I'm so disappointed with Reed. He makes all this money, he puts into one stock, and it goes bad, and it's. Dude, don't you know the word diversify?
Right.
I can't imagine how stupid that is. Well, the best of us, you know.
Well, it's just like he's great at being a super scientist, but he kind of mucks up a lot of other things.
Yeah. And let's see, we have people repossessors going after the pogo plane.
Yeah.
Have we seen them use that yet?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Not what we read here. So, and the Thing helped make it, so he's kind of ticked off and he's beating up the repossessors. And then he said, "No, they've already bought it." So Thing leaves. He tries to get a cab, and the cab won't pick him up because he has no money.
so Reed impales the cab on a lamppost.
Thing.
What did I say?
Reed.
I meant Ben.
Yeah.
Sorry. Which is hilarious.
Yeah. Yep, it is. Okay. So he's got to get he shoots a flare gun, and here comes, is it Johnny? No, Johnny comes and picks him up. So now he is living, apparently, with Alicia already.
I think he just goes to visit her.
Maybe so, but they seem to be an item.
Okay.
A
lot's happened since the last issue.
Yeah, apparently so. Let's see. So they get this Hollywood deal, $1 million. So they can go to Hollywood and be in this movie.
And this will solve their money problems.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they have no way to get there. They have no money for a plane ride, so they hitchhike.
Which is great.
Yeah. They don't show any of the hitchhiking. They just show them hitchhiking for the first time, but that could be a whole issue there. Their adventures in hitchhiking across the country.
Right. Here's the thing. It's funny to look at comics at this time because the amount of story that takes place in one issue these days tends to get very decompressed and spread out over several issues. So, right. I mean, like these Justice League stories we've been reading or this, a lot of these would be like 3 to 6 issue arcs.
Right.
Easily. These days. And I think that would really help those Justice League stories a lot to have that room to breathe.
Yeah.
The Marvel one's not so bad, but the DC one's like, oh man, there's a lot going on.
Right. But that would be fun to see them going across the country. Oh,
totally.
I mean, that'd be nice for someone to do a rep of this and what happened to them.
Like a story in between. Maybe they run into the Mole Man again in New Mexico or something.
Yeah.
Or the Hulk.
Yeah.
But anyway, they get to Hollywood, and James Arness and Bob Hope and Bing Crosby are there. Yeah. Jackie Gleason's there. Alfred Hitchcock.
I think that's Jackie Gleason.
It is.
Is it? Okay. You can always tell when it's someone famous who is an actual person because they are drawn more detailed.
Sure.
And Ricky called James Arness John Wayne and called Bing Crosby Dean Martin. So.
Well, wikis are somebody can sign up and edit it.
Yep.
So when you looked it up, somebody had edited it incorrectly.
Indeed.
They also might have seen this guy next to Jackie Gleason and thought that was Dean Martin. No, in the panel you just had.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
It's just some guy.
No, it is not. It is an actor.
Okay.
I don't know who it is. So.
Well, the gal who's next to James Arness on the cover is the gal from Gunsmoke. I just don't remember her name.
Miss Kitty, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the Fantastic Four arrive at Hollywood. We've seen all these Hollywood stars, and then they go to meet the studio head, who you'd think they would have got his name beforehand. Like, we'll go, without finding out any other information.
Who signed a check? Who cares? It's $1 million.
Right.
So, it's Namor. Wow.
And he really plays it up like he's all on the up and up, and he really kind of... He looks like Hugh Hefner in like the robe or the the pinstripe suit or whatever,
and the cigarette holder.
Yeah,
yeah. Femme fatales and let's see, evil guys. The only ones who used, and Hunter S. Thompson, I guess. Use cigarette holders.
Right. At this time, Hunter S. Thompson would be having some of his kooky 1960s adventures.
Right. Actually, cigarette holders, I think, are because that there were no filters. So you had some loose tobacco in your mouth when you smoked a cigarette in those days.
I don't know, because when I see the cigarette holders, I tend to see the butt of a cigarette, like the filter part, in the end that's stuck in. It's to keep smoke from getting in your eyes.
Interesting. Okay. So... Namor has this idea. They're going to film each one of them into an adventure and make a lot of money. So it gives him cash because Namor can go down and get treasure anytime he wants to.
Mm-hmm. So it's of course Johnny immediately gets a fast car.
Yeah, which I thought was. Oh,
Which
it's very Johnny, and it is exactly what he would do. I think it's stupid of him to do that.
But he's still 17 and a minor.
Yeah.
You would think that money would immediately go into a trust, and he wouldn't have direct access to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he picks up chicks.
But maybe he's emancipated minor because he and Sue are orphans.
Right.
Because their mother died and their father disappeared.
Yeah.
And Sue could be his guardian. I don't know. Stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The Thing goes to the beach, and he gets walked on by somebody really, really stupid. I don't know why you would walk on the Thing, or anybody else for that matter.
Yeah, so, he's sunbathing, and somebody steps on his back, and then he decides to toss all these muscle beach types into the ocean.
They're showing off, lifting girls up and all that stuff, and it's kind of cool. But, but he just lifts up about 20 guys and throws them into the water. It's pretty cool. Alright, so Namor has another plan, getting Sue, because he still loves her. Remember, there is a picture of Sue in his undersea kingdom.
Correct.
Alright, first Reed goes into this island, where he's going to defeat a robot Cyclops. Little does Reed know that the robot Cyclops is the Cyclops of Odysseus fame.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Well, Kirby gets his monster. I've asked this before. You think that Kirby wants to put a monster in, or that Stan Lee wants to, or something?
It's probably in the script, and, but Stan knows his artists. He knows Kirby's going to draw a great monster.
Yeah, and he does. Actually, that's probably the coolest Cyclops ever that I've ever seen. And he has one eye and a huge bulbous bald head. That's really cool.
And I love the brow that he's got.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me almost of the brow from Dick Tracy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. All right, so he tries to squish Reed, which is hard to squish a man who is made out of rubber.
He's not really made of rubber.
Yeah.
But he can stretch.
Yeah. Cyclops picks up a huge boulder and throws it at him. Reed goes and makes himself into a slingshot. The boulder hits Reed.
Ricochets it back onto the Cyclops.
And bashes him. But he gets back up and he starts fighting again. And then Reed trips him and goes into this big hole.
Yay!
And that's it. And so Reed goes back home. Let's see. I don't know how he gets back, I wonder.
I don't know. Let's not focus on that right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So Johnny has been dropped in some place in deep dark Africa among a tribe who drink a compound that makes them flame resistant.
Yeah.
They have no fear of fire.
Which is interesting. The flame retardant tribe. So, everyone thinks they're making a movie, and I guess they are actually making a movie, but it's for real.
Yeah.
So, Johnny flames on, and they laugh at him. We're not afraid, because we have this magic elixir that makes us impervious to flame. Which would be kind of handy, I would think.
Right?
And steel workers and firemen might like that.
Yeah.
So they capture...
It's odd how Namor just knows about this tribe, because if they were a known group, around the world, don't you think people would come along and try to exploit them? Like, every supervillain would try to, get a hold of that compound.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Santa would like it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's something... Okay, so he's captured into... Well, all right, remember... The torch can only flame on for an hour or so. Then he runs out of juice and he's got to rest. So he's captured in bamboo. He gets his rest. He pushes out, and then he makes a bunch of torches, and it is running around. And
he creates other figures made of fire.
I haven't seen this one either.
I've seen him do things sort of like that. like making a cage of fire or things, or
I've seen that, yeah.
But I know it's almost like he's creating things Green Lantern style to go and run around or whatever.
Right.
I don't think we'll see him do that a lot.
Right.
The further along we get in the series, you'll see less of that.
Right. So there's a volcano on the island. He goes and erupts it with one of his. How does he do that?
Doesn't he heat it up and make it erupt?
Yeah, I guess he just has a well-aimed fireball.
Okay.
And he causes lava to come down and, I guess, kill the tribesmen.
Jeez.
That's kind of harsh.
Yeah.
So
Johnny gets away.
Yeah.
So then we cut to the Thing and Namor. They're going to have a fight on the beach.
And that's a cool fight.
And, of course, Namor has advantage because he's got his feet in the water. He's near the water. He can recharge his power.
And the Thing doesn't know this. But he kind of figures, yeah, we're in the water. And so he takes him out of the water and he starts beating the crap out of him.
But not before Namor keeps jumping up and down on Ben's shoulders, pushing him down into the sand, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Flies up in the air, then comes down real hard, pushes him down into the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So the Thing drags him onto the beach, away from the water. He's about to pound him one, and then he gets hit by lightning and turns back into Ben Grimm.
Yeah, and then Namor clocks him one.
Mm-hmm. And which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I love this. It was a great fight. But poor Ben.
Right?
Mm-hmm. All right, Namor.
See, but here's the thing, though. If Namor is swinging, thinking he's going to hit, the rocky hide of the Thing, and then he turns back, while Namor's swinging, how come the blow that landed on Ben's face didn't, make his head pop off?
Right. Or making it to mashed potatoes or something.
Maybe because he's in transition, it's enough of his Rocky form to protect him or to roll with the punch or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. Or it could be comics. That's the reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you notice that he seems? Maybe it's in this one. Maybe it's another one. But Namor talks American a bit. Yeah.
There's a little bit where he says "That's it, Mister. Here it comes."
Yeah.
And the dialogue is not consistent with his characterization.
Right.
You'll see that here and again.
Yeah.
We'll see an instance. We'll see an uncharacteristic bit of dialogue in Doctor Doom. In another issue we'll talk about today. So anyway.
Okay, so Namor goes back to Sue to get his just rewards for kicking the rest of the Fantastic Four's butt. Little does he know that two of them are okay.
Yeah.
So he tells Sue about it. Sue gets mad, so she turns invisible. So he uses electricity, the power of the electric eel.
Yeah.
And she gets a carpet out and throws it over him. Ha! And so then he uses the vision of cave fish to find her.
Yeah. Namor gets weird applications of his powers, or just weird powers that you seldom hear about, to fit a story. In Golden Age adventures, they actually would have him project water out of, just come out of his body.
Ooh, okay.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Okay. You never thought urinating would be a superpower.
Well, having a big splash of water come out of his chest, which is weird.
Yeah. So, using the power of the cave fish, he grabs her, and then comes the rest of the Fantastic Four.
And they're about to clobber him, and Sue says, "Hey, you've never ganged up on anyone before." Wait, what? They ganged up on people every issue.
Yeah, and he lives by a different code. Well, so does Genghis Khan. That's no excuse. The different people might live by a different code, but there's got to be right and wrong. He tried to kill a bunch of people in a tricksy manner, and that wasn't honorable. I understand that he's worried about his people dying and all that stuff, and he has a point. But he does not have the right to go murder people like that. If there's a fair fight, That's one thing, but it wasn't a fair
It was
fight.
super underhanded the whole time.
Yeah.
But Namor agrees to give him the money, and they complete the film too.
Yeah, and it's a big hit, but but Sue, why don't they put him in jail? They go through a court. Wouldn't that be cool? So.
I think that they'll later establish that Namor and Dr. Doom, because they're rulers of a nation, they have diplomatic immunity.
But then they can go through an international tribune, and that's what.
Oh, what, like the Hague, like the Hague court?
Yeah, or something.
Yeah,
it'll take forever, but
yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, but anyway.
Okay. Oh, here's where another feature page. This is where Torch describes how he can fly.
Oh, right. I got that mixed up with the other one, but anyway.
Oh, he can go past the speed of sound, and he doesn't do that over a populated area, so I thought that was nice of him.
Well, who cares? Planes break the sound barrier over populated areas all the time.
Oh, they're not supposed to.
Who gives a crap? It doesn't hurt anything.
They can break your windows.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. If you're flying low enough.
Yeah. And, and you don't want it at 3 a.m. being woken up by the sonic boom.
Well, yeah, but what if they're saving the world?
Well, that's a different matter. Then no one cares. But if you're doing a training mission, you don't want to tick people off.
Okay.
They're taxpayers.
Okay. The taxpayers don't fund the operations of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, somebody does. Well, apparently Reed does a bad job of it. But
well, he'll learn his lesson. He's pretty smart.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about this next issue of the Fantastic Four. It's number 10, cover dated January of 1963, with cover art by Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers. And we have this great cover where the FF minus Reed are fighting Dr. Doom, and Reed is looking evil on the cover.
Yeah, I was shocked by that.
Ain't it cool?
Yeah, it is. Oh, man, you actually meet Lee and Kirby in the story.
Yes, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But this story in this issue is called The Return of Dr. Doom. And, of course, it was written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Dick Ayers.
Okay, Reed is trying to take x-rays of the Invisible Girl to see if they can make an Invisible ray for everybody.
I thought it was to increase her control of her ability. Because he's wanting to learn more about her powers.
The power of the Invisible, yeah.
Am I right?
Actually, he doesn't really explain.
Okay.
Oh, we can duplicate the process at will. So he wants to be able to make another person invisible or something? I don't know.
Okay.
Alright. That's the emergency flare. So, to the Fantastic Art, but they can't get to Fantastic Art because the door's stuck. And we spent a whole page of them trying to get into the door. And what's up with this? So they can't get into it, so they say, well, we'll walk there. Johnny freaks out a bunch of people. Reed is beset by autograph hounds. Sue is attacked. Well, there's a masher. I think I'm using that word correctly. Where somebody's trying to go out on a date with her. She turns invisible. You never heard that? It's from the 40s.
No, I've heard people say a wolf.
Wolf is, yeah.
I never heard somebody called a masher.
It's an old antiquated term. Just like me.
You are a term?
Well, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just go.
I'm term of endearment. No. She is walking in front of traffic and she's invisible, so the cars cannot see her, so it's a problem with her walking across the street.
Right. See, that's interesting that her power is also dangerous to her. Because this is before she develops the force fields.
Right.
She doesn't know the full extent of her power.
Okay. So, they come to Alicia's apartment, and the Thing just wanted to tell them to show the puppets that Alicia made. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. Isn't the flare an emergency thing?
Right, and again, like, why don't they have futuristic cell phones and be like, hey, come over to Alicia, she's been working on something really cool.
They don't have landlines in 1962. They can't afford them. That's the most stupidest thing ever. But they just show that the Fantastic Car is important, that them going through the streets is problematical.
Right. Because they're celebrities.
Yeah.
Now, with no secret IDs, which I like. And of course, we see at Alicia's apartment, she has made statuary figures of all of the Fantastic Four's enemies. We got the Mole Man, the Miracle Man, who won't show up again for like 15 years.
Wow.
The Skrulls, Doctor Doom, and Namor.
How can she do this?
Because powers? No, not powers, but she's got a great gift
But
for sculpting.
you have to, well, how she know remotely what they look like? Someone, Ben, he's not the most descriptive person ever.
Well, how did Helen Keller, who was deaf, mute, and blind, learn to communicate with people? That's amazing. Where does the...
But my Helen Keller used touch in her hand, and it took forever to do that. But she wasn't describing and making a model of something she was ascribed to. That's really hard to do. I mean, I guess Ben says, "Oh, you got Mole Man's eyes wrong," or something, But that'd be very hard to do.
You would have to be very vivid descriptions. I know. Try not to get too hung up on this, okay?
Okay, all right, but
I see your point.
Yeah, but having a blind sculptor is problematical, unless the person's there to do that.
Well, to be a model,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to get these villains to, do that. So I get it, but
Yep. Okay, so
we cut to Lee and Kirby in the offices of Marvel Comics,
right. Mm-hmm.
and they are lamenting the loss of their great creation, Doctor Doom. Will never come up with another menace like him.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. All right.
Well, here's the thing. They're doing comic book stories based on the actual adventures of the Fantastic Four. Well, and a lot of times they would make up ones in the Marvel Comics universe, like their pretend comics. And they're like, oh, the FF hate it when we make stories up.
Right.
Like, too bad Doctor Doom was gone because he was the greatest menace ever. Well, he shows up at their office. Because he was lost in space,
We never see Stan and Jack's face. We just see them. In
silhouette or like, just their hands or they're turned away. Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Doom knows how to use a telephone. Why doesn't the Thing?
He tells them to call up Reed Richards to get him down there.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Doom shows Jack and Stan his face.
Right.
And he says he can't even look at his face himself. Which, man, your imagination runs riot.
Right?
Yeah.
This is so fun.
And it's very good that they would never show their face.
Right.
Yeah, because it would be definitely, no matter what they do, it would be a letdown.
Okay.
All right, so they forced, is he Jack or Stan, one of them, to call Reed and come down to their office
to work out a plot.
Mm-hmm.
And so Reed complies.
Yeah.
And Dr. Doom hangs out and lies in wait.
All right. So Reed gets dressed up. So just kind of cool.
Yeah, he wears a pinstripe suit. Anyway, but Doom gets a drop on him, gasses him with a gun, and then the plan stuff happens. Oh, yeah. First he's captured Reed, and then he explains how he escaped the asteroid.
Yeah. It was hurling into outer space last time he looked.
Right. And of course his armor doubles as a spacesuit, so he was fine. But he was rescued by this advanced alien race called the Ovoids, who will show up again in comics. Maybe not in the Lee Kirby run, but they
kind of
do
look like Charlie Brown's gang.
Sure.
They have huge round heads.
Mm-hmm.
They are very advanced, but naive. So they give all these secrets to Dr. Doom, and they don't believe he could do anything evil with them. Well, he does. So.
Right. So, but he learns that they've stayed immortal by switching their dying bodies to young, healthy ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, Dr. Doom learns this technique, and it's part of his evil plan. But I realize this is foreshadowing something, the switching bodies thing, something Kirby would do at DC and OMAC. The people had the body banks
Yeah.
where they grew clones or they kidnapped people and switched old dying bodies of rich folks into young healthy ones.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. So, Dr. Doom becomes Reed Richards. Reed Richards becomes Dr. Doom.
And of course, so Doom Reed goes back to the Baxter Building to infiltrate the Fantastic Four.
That's kind of cool.
Yep. Oh, and he traps Doom. Well, Doom traps Reed in Doom's body in his lair or whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. I thought he put him in maybe I'm reading the wrong one. Okay. So, man, Reed looks demonic.
Yeah. You can just see how his facial expressions, when he's talking about what he's going to do or whatever. But let's...
So, okay, the Thing barges in and starts fighting Doom, who is actually Reed.
Right.
And Reed, as Dr. Doom, tries to tell Thing, hey, I'm Reed, not Dr. Doom. So we get a lot of that confusing.
Right. And of course, no one believes him.
Mm-hmm.
Doom is very convincing as Reed, which is great.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, the evil Reed puts Dr. Doom, who is Reed, in a capsule and says, oh, he'll be able to breathe in there, everything will be cool. But
as soon as everybody else leaves the room, he says, oh, you only have like an hour of oxygen.
Yeah. Which is kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really fun issue. I love it.
Oh, it's really great, yeah.
Okay, Fantastic Four come back. Well, 3 of them come back, and Reed, or Dr. Doom, has all these itty-bitty little animals hanging around because he ripped off a zoo.
Right.
And they're tiny. They're about, 6 inches high. And Reed comes back and says, what's going on here? Leave me alone. So,
whatever, but they're like, hey, because they're looking at the newspaper, the zoo animals are missing. They're like, hey, did you steal these animals from the zoo?
Mm-hmm.
And then he explains, yeah, he did, but there was a really good reason.
Yeah, because dinosaurs were really big, but their brains were small. If they were a smaller size and kept up with their brain was a little bit bigger, they'd be Homo saurian or whatever.
Yeah, and they would be like exploring space. But the dinosaurs didn't grow themselves into extinction.
No, and they were small. I mean, there was dinosaurs the size of a cat.
Right, but it's really weird because that's what they say here. Oh, dinosaurs grew themselves into extinction. I'm like, that's not what happened at all.
Yeah, but the picture of dinosaurs wearing spacesuits is wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
That'd make a great album cover or something.
Yeah, it would. But anyway, Doom Reed is giving them all this scientific double talk to say, like, look, if I shrink you and then embiggen you, it'll increase your powers.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, they'll believe anything because they're not scientists and I am. Of course, he's just going to shrink them and destroy them.
Right. Yeah, and they're all for it. Johnny and Thing fight over it.
Yeah.
And, okay, let's see. Oh, he's, the evil Reed has to work on it. And so he sends him out, and he laughs maniacally, which is great.
Yeah.
So he shrinks a bucket to nothingness. And that's what he's going to do with the rest of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Now, back in the dungeon or whatever, Reed, in Dr. Doom's body, he can't get out of the plastic bubble he's in. Mm-hmm. And he figures, oh, wait, there's the air canisters in here. If I set them by the thing, I can explode my way out.
Well, oxygen does explode.
Well, right.
Yeah, but it's going to be exploding in an enclosed place with you in it. So
yeah.
But he's wearing armor, so
yeah.
I guess
here's the thing, though. If Dr. Doom traded bodies with Reed and didn't disable all the devices in Doom's armor, couldn't he have just got out anyway?
Yeah, he wouldn't know how to use them, but then how does...
But Reed's a super scientist. He'd probably be able to figure it out.
Yeah, he should be checking stuff out, see if he's got anything.
Right.
Also, how does Doctor Doom know how to use Reed's power? Reed's been practicing using his.
I haven't really
special.
seen Doom
Actually,
use the
right.
power.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But is it? I wonder if Reed has problem just being himself. You know, looking like a regular.
You mean
person.
like Reed has to make an effort to be normal?
Yeah, I wonder.
Here's what it is. I think Doom's not trying to use the powers because he has to concentrate to keep from the mind switching back to the other body.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So
Alright, so
So Reed, in Doom's body, visits Alicia.
and Sue's there and he knocks him over the head with a vase.
Yeah.
And he's knocking over the Thing's bust, which is kinda
Yeah.
cool. Alright, so here comes Thing and he's really mad because Alicia was threatened.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna take you apart, mister. I'm paraphrasing, but then Reed managed to say something to him to cool his jets.
Yeah, and the Thing says, "Oh, I must be going soft," because I kind of believe him. And here comes, let's see. So, Reed, evil Reed, comes back, and he's about to shrink Sue. Oh, here, evil Reed does use his powers right here. He
does stretch.
Dr.
Okay.
Doom.
Okay.
And then both Thing, God, this is getting confusing. Thing and Johnny say, "Hey, Reed doesn't sound like himself."
You think?
Yeah. He says, "Stay back, you meddling fool. Back, I say." Yeah, that's Dr. Doom there.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Alright, so Johnny, let's see. Who does... Oh, here's another thing, super secret thing Johnny does I've never seen before. He sees a piece of dynamite going off. So
like on the street below, because some people are going to excavate a new area for construction.
So he brings up the dynamite into the room, a vision of it.
Yeah, he's able to create a mirage from heat or whatever, which is... What? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, it's a trick because the Reed in Dr. Doom's body jumps on the dynamite to protect everyone else, and Doom in Reed's body slinks away up a pipe to protect himself. And so now they know who was good and who was evil.
Right.
Now at this moment, when he's confronted, Doom loses control and switches bodies back.
Right.
And then he acts like a real coward when they corner him.
Yeah, I thought Doom was... I think Doom gets more noble.
Yeah. I think they're still kind of defining him as a character, and so it's not super consistent early on here.
And here, he has a laser beam finger.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's a sub-miniature transistor-powered atomic blast gun. Man, I'd like to have one of those.
Yeah.
And he gets... the fight goes on, and he gets blasted by the unembiggening ray.
Shrink ray?
Yeah.
And so he's shrunk down to nothing.
Right. And literally nothing. And I guess that's the last we'll see of Dr. Doom.
Man.
So, that was cool. Very nice. It was... Not as... Well, there's some action, but mostly it was thinking and all this.
This was really character heavy.
Very good.
And I like that. And I think that's the strength of this book.
Mm-hmm.
Because the recurring theme is their powers are never enough. It's always about the relationships and actually thinking.
Yeah. Star Trek reference. Do you remember the old...
The Mirror episodes that we're referring to? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's harder for someone evil to pretend to be good than someone good to pretend to be evil.
Yeah.
Most of the great film villains are super nice guys. Alan Rickman is a super nice guy, and he plays really mean, nasty people.
Sure.
So I think Tom Hiddleston is a really nice guy. He plays Loki.
Yeah.
And
on and on and on. Yeah. And actors will always tell you, getting to play the heavy is the most fun.
Right.
I get to be a bad guy, or if you get to be a bad guy, or you get to die. That is like, you're in heaven as an actor.
Oh, I didn't know dying was...
Yeah.
Yeah. Dying is easy, comedy is hard, someone said.
Yeah.
All right.
Steve Martin said comedy is not pretty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But on to this next issue. Yeah, there's a pinup of Sue Storm.
Yeah, that glamorous Invisible Girl. Is she glamorous, I guess, at the time?
Sure. Or, again, there's all kinds of hyperbole that they're trying to build up here. Stan Lee, the showman, just puts the words on the paper, and then it's real. You know what I mean?
All right.
So don't get too hung up on that stuff.
No, that's my job.
Oh, okay.
What else am I supposed to do here?
Yeah. Like, well, this isn't really the world's greatest comic magazine, is it? You know, like you say that all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
I know.
It's marketing.
I think it's the fun of it is making fun of the hyperbole.
Okay.
And I understand it's hyperbole and it's goofy comic book, but I think it's funny.
Okay.
So.
On to the last issue we're going to talk about on this episode. It's the Fantastic Four number 11. Cover dated February of 1963. Cover art penciled by Jack Kirby. Penciled and inked by Jack Kirby with alterations by Al Hartley. And this is great. But the cover we see, of course, is the Impossible Man looking kind of menacing. We don't know anything about him. What's his powers? And the cover kind of describes it as going to be this great offbeat collector's item issue.
So they had collectors even then?
It's a new phenomenon. And they're playing that up. And there'll be fan letters at the time saying like, oh, I can't find any these old issues. Or Marvel saying they've sold off all of the back issues of the early issues. So, but the stories inside this issue really play up that they're really... This is becoming a very big cultural phenomenon, at least within comic fandom. So the lead story in this issue is called A Visit with the Fantastic Four, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Dick Ayers.
Yeah, it is interesting. In the Fantastic Four comic book, there are Fantastic Four comic books.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting. I wonder if that's the first time it's been done.
I don't know.
That's it.
I don't have a real answer for that, but it's a thing that Marvel would come back to again and again. So,
it is interesting. So, there's a line to get the Fantastic Four comics. The Fantastic Four says, we'll get them later. so they come across these kids playing as the Fantastic Four, which is really, really cool.
You see one kid who's got like a big shirt with pillows under it and a mask. He's pretending to be the Thing. A couple of kids a kid jumping around with sparklers as the Human Torch. A girl hiding behind a lamppost as the Invisible Girl. And a kid with a couple of sticks with the gloves on the end pretending to be Reed. Yeah.
And the kid as the Thing says, "Oh, look at me crush this tin can." I said, the Thing says, "Not bad, Shorty. Here's another trick you can try in your spare time." He goes to a lamppost
and crushes it.
Yeah. The kid goes, "Irk." And then Reed shows off, and Sue is sweet to the little girl. And
Johnny tells the kid he shows him his powers and says, you shouldn't play with fire.
Oh, Reed says, "I'm gonna pick some flowers for get to that you can get to the Invisible Girl." So it was super sweet.
Yeah, that's loads of fun, and I love that they're celebrities.
Yeah, and the mailmen hate it because they got huge amounts of mail.
And he's this old guy, and I love it. It's the introduction of their mailman, Willie Lumpkin.
Yeah.
And he asked if they need any members. He says, I don't have any superpowers exactly, but I can wiggle my ears real good.
Yeah.
And they love old Willie Lumpkin, and I do too.
We're all filled up now. So.
Funny thing. In 1960, for a few months, Willie Lumpkin actually had his own comic strip that Stan Lee wrote.
Good God.
Yeah, it was short-lived, but then he brought him back and used him in the Fantastic Four.
What did he do?
It was just a mailman. It was a gag strip.
Oh. Okay. All right, so they get a huge amount of mail. The Thing empties it, and it says, to the Thing. There's a box. He opens it up, and it's a little punching gag.
Yeah.
punching bag gag or something.
It's not a punching bag. A fist on a spring pops out and punches him on it with a boxing glove.
And it really makes him mad.
Oh, and of course it was from the Yancey Street Gang.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
I love this because it started from nothing, and there's no reason for it, but it just exists, and it's really cool.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Reed has come up with another new thing to cure Ben. Ben rubs this stuff on himself, and he turns back into Ben Grimm.
Yeah. So now, let's see. Now they start thinking about their past lives, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think in this issue, we get lots of great backstory about Ben and Reed being college buddies, and they went off to World War II.
Yeah. It's really cool. Ben Grimm doesn't like Reed when he first sees him because he's a brainiac.
But Reed wins him over.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it is.
They become great friends, and Ben's a pilot in World War II, and Reed works with the OSS.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. So, let's see. So then we get the origin story again.
Which I think this is a better telling of the origin. It's less clumsy. It's less like, well, really? It's less nonsensical. And also more dramatic. And they do it in less space.
Yeah, well, it's not a whole issue.
Right.
I didn't even read this because I thought it would just be the same one, but it is different. So
it is.
I think it is done better.
I'm disappointed that you didn't take the time.
I'm sorry.
Taking shortcuts, cutting corners?
Oh, I thought I already read it. All right. Not too long.
Always reread the flashbacks because that's where they're refining and adding new details.
Okay. Well, I've learned my lesson. Okay. Actually, some of the scenes are pretty cool about it.
Yeah.
All right. So I missed it. Okay. So they're back to being on the Fantastic Four. Man, what was the great memories those were.
Yeah. But anyway, they're talking about how a lot of fan letters are complaining about Sue being useless and the team could do better.
And they got fan letters about Sue being useless in real life.
Yeah. Oh, no, totally. And then Reed calls out the fans in this comic. It's awesome.
He uses Abe Lincoln's mother.
And what is that whole example?
Oh, Abe...
He wouldn't have been such a great man if it weren't for his mother.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then he also gives several examples of how helpful Sue was in some of their missions.
Right.
Against the Skrulls, against Dr. Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben gets all mad and turns back into the Thing again.
Yeah, man. Well, that solution is not going to work because he gets mad a lot.
Yeah. And, yeah. I have already lost track of how many times he's temporarily been banned and back again. It's a lost cause.
Half a dozen at least. So
I think it's 4 or 5 times actually.
Well,
right
Johnny
now.
leaves before all this reminiscing, and where did he go off to? So there's someone in emergency, and they come into looks like a spaceship.
Maybe it's Kurgo's spaceship. Maybe
Yeah. And
it is. They even say so. It's the saucer they kept from Memento from our adventure on Planet X.
Yeah.
See, I was wrong. They do reference it again. This didn't get repossessed when they got kicked out of the Baxter Building in that last issue.
Yeah. So it was all a happy birthday to Sue.
A surprise party.
Yeah, which is really cool, and that's what Torch was doing. He was baking her a cake, or at least buying one.
Sure. Well, couldn't he? He could bake it with his flame, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess he could.
The piece of cake that Ben is eating is huge.
Yeah, it's a sign of a regular-sized cake.
Right.
It's a 3-layer one.
Yeah. So on to the backup story.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite ones of all time.
This is wonderful. It's The Impossible Man, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Dick Ayers.
Yeah. The Impossible Man comes down
to Earth,
and he with these hobos wants some food. And I love the hobos say, "Listen, cornball, we're legitimate hobos. We don't like freeloaders, no matter where they come from." Which is hilarious.
Right. I mean, how can you be a hobo that isn't a freeloader? That's I mean, of course, that's what they're doing. I mean,
Yeah, that's the joke. So.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because DC Comics in the Silver Age, 50s and 60s, is very into imps. We have Mr. Mxyzptlk, we have Batmite, we have there's Quisp, the water sprite that helps out Aquaman.
I've not seen them yet.
Well, you will.
Oh, okay.
There's Merwidden, the imp wizard, who is a villain for Green Lantern. And somebody told, or I read somewhere that there's an imp that bugs the Martian Manhunter as well. So that's like 5 imps.
Wow. Yeah.
And so Marvel comes up with their own, the Impossible Man, or Impy, who is the greatest imp of them all.
Okay, I love Impossible Man, but he's no Mxyzptlk. But he's second in my opinion.
Yeah, and the thing about the Impossible Man is he's not malicious. He just wants to have fun.
Yeah.
And Mxyzptlk, I think he's out to get things for himself.
I think he's more mischievous because he's never stealing money and he doesn't kill anybody. He just wants to drive Superman batty.
Okay.
And that's the impression I get. Unless you read, there's...
I know, it's the Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Which is an imaginary story.
Yeah,
but aren't they all?
Yeah, but it's awesome, though.
Love that story.
So, an Impossible Man goes steal some money from a bank.
So the hobos explain, like, look, if you want food, you gotta need money. And he's like, what's money? Well, you go to the bank, and they'll just give it to you. So they're messing with him. But he goes away. He robs the bank.
Go to the bank and ask for something. They love to give it away.
This story is so much fun.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The Impossible Man can turn into anything instantly.
Yeah.
And we figure out why later.
Yeah.
So he turns into steel, and the cops shoot him, and nothing happens. And here's a female type Earthling. How adorable! After you, my dear. I thought I met every kind of wolf, but this is ridiculous. I love that scene.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so
Impossible Man. Yeah, the Fantastic Four are called, and they come on the Impossible Man. He's just in a restaurant eating stuff.
Tons of stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, he explains that on the planet Pop-Up, the wildlife there is so dangerous. His people evolved they can turn into anything to defend themselves.
And
instantly.
The planet Pop-Up. We only see one thing of it, and one panel, and it's just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. The monsters and all that. I just love this.
Yeah.
So many of Jack Kirby stuff should be embiggened and put on, fit a whole wall.
Sure.
And that's awesome. But that is interesting. The evolution is instantaneous. That's what keeps him alive.
Yeah.
Because it has so many awful, nasty creatures.
Yeah, and he could just turn into a spaceship and fly away. And he looks like a cartoony kind of spaceship rocket, which is great.
Yeah.
And they don't really talk about it here, but the Pop-Upians they have a hive mind. So the Impossible Man is everyone on that world. So, but that's not delved into here.
Okay. So, Thing's gonna punch him out, and he turns into like thorny thing.
Yeah.
Cacti or something. Yeah. And then he turns into... Torch goes after him, so he turns into a water balloon.
Right. All kinds of stuff.
And what does he do to...
Reed?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
He turns really small and just flies around.
I love it. They ask him what his name is. And it's like, name? We Pop-Upians don't need names. We know who we are.
That's a great line.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
And he's just so, turns his nose up and smug about it. The superiority there is great.
Yeah, he says to Sue, "Now you stay away from me. I'm too much of a gentleman to battle a female." I love that. So.
Yeah.
So I guess they don't have females. Although, do they even have females on Pop-Up? I don't know.
I think they are agendered, but he later created a wife for himself, just popped her into existence.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he's just causing all kinds of problems, running amok, doing whatever, and nobody can stop him. So Reed gets the great idea, just turn your back and ignore him.
Yeah.
And he tells everybody. Everybody on Earth gets in on it, and just ignore him, and he'll get bored and he'll go away. And he's doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and people pay him no mind, and he says, screw this place, I need him out of here. Which is great!
Yeah, it is wonderful. It was also used for Martian Go Home. It's a science fiction book made into an awful movie. But the Martians come invade Earth, and they're super obnoxious, and they're everywhere. You can have, if you're going to the bathroom or with your lady, they're there watching and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So I think,
when was this movie made?
Oh, the book was written in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
But I think. And but the movie's made in the 80s or 90s, and it was awful. But,
Okay.
Oh well. But so it works, and it's a clever idea, and it's a clever story, and it's just super wonderful.
Yeah. And it's so funny. The Impossible. I mean, we can look at this and say, "Oh, what a fun story," but fans at the time hated this.
Really, because it's kind of whimsical.
Yeah.
I don't mind whimsical, but
I think whimsical didn't necessarily fit the tastes of the 1960s, sadly. And the Impossible Man didn't show up again until sometime in I think the late 1970s.
Wow,
it's a long time.
Yeah, I know this is my favorite Fantastic Four story. I think.
Oh, I think it's loads of fun.
Okay, but that was super cool. Oh, we get a pin-up page with the Prince Namor, the mighty submariner. He's got a fossil fish of species thought to be extinct for millions of years. It's not a coelacanth, but
it's some prehistoric creature.
Kind of a bony exoskeleton on it. It's pretty cool. Map of undersea Earth, and there's some kind of hanging thing that looks like a snowflake, but it's not. I don't know what it is, but it's cool. It is awesome. So, okay, and that's it for this. So I guess we'll see you in the funny pages.